So guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing my predictions for the Strongest Man Earth 2025. I cannot tell you how much I'm looking forward to watching this competition. I literally bought the pay-per-view for it like 3 days ago, which is like basically like 2 weeks in advance. So I really can't wait to get this one done, get it watched, see what happens. It's going to be one hell of a show. Just to mention, since I made my first video on this, which was actually my first YouTube video, things have changed a little bit. So Hooper is officially out now due to injuries and due to life circumstance. Thor isn't going, and who else isn't going? Rhino Nell, the current world's strongest man, isn't going either due to work, and I'm not being arsed if you ask me, but anyway. The guys that are going, we still have a serious lineup here. So, 16 guys going there. We have Austin Andrade, Maxime Boudreau, Wes Drwinski, Thomas Evans, Shane Flowers, Andre Faitu, Nick Gardione, Lucas Hatton, Tristan Hoth, Bryce Johnson, Trey Mitchell, Evan Singleton, Josh Spurgeon, Tom Stoltman, Eddie Williams, Bobby Thompson. And with all of these guys going there, we have 8 events as well over 2 days. So on day 1, we have the max log press. We have 3 attempts on that. So just to quickly go through some of the guys I think are going to do really well on this. The 2 heavy hitters here, I think, are Lucas Hatton and Trey Mitchell. They are looking to break the American record, if not the world record. The American record currently stands at 478 pounds, or about 216 kilos. The world record is at around 509 pounds or 231 kilos. Lucas Hatton, I've been watching very closely on this. He recently hit 490 in training. I wouldn't say it looked easy, but it looked like there was definitely more in the tank. I think 500 pounds is definitely within grasp. He thinks if he has a perfect performance that 510 pounds is possible, so just about nudging over the world record. Wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. I think he would need everything to just go perfectly for him to break the world record, but I think breaking the American record that's not hard for him. Like, he's literally already broke it in training. I think he'll probably land somewhere around the 500 pound mark. The likes of Trey Mitchell as well, he'll be thereabouts. I think he's going to be hitting, like, I think I saw him do 470 for a double from the rack. So as we know with Trey, like the tricep and shoulder power is not the issue. It's more just the technique, but not that his technique is bad on that either. So, he'd be, I think he'll be knocking around the 480, 490 mark as well, at least. Excuse me. So, next event we have is the keg toss from Max. Now, I'm really excited to see how Tom Stoltman gets on with this, as he has put out a pretty bold claim on the Strongest Man Earth podcast with Brian Shaw. He claims that he could do 100 pounds on this event. So just for reference, the actual size of the frame here they have to throw it over is 15 feet. So it's pretty standard height in most competitions. But 100 pounds, so that's about 44-ish kilos. Over that height is just insane in a keg. Like, it's just absolutely insane. Outside of that, now, do I think he'd be able to get 100 pounds? He sounds confident in saying it. With the elevation, it could affect him slightly, but it is only the second event as well, so it's possible. Do I think he'd win the event even if he didn't get 100 pounds? Yeah, I think he's probably the most likely to win that event, to be honest, given that he's the tallest athlete and given that his throwing is just insane. I think he would definitely be good for around 85 pounds, maybe 90. 100 is just so. You see, I haven't seen a video of it myself. Like, a lot of things Thomas kept quiet in training. He's put out little bits here and there, but not much. But yeah, that's a huge weight to be hitting. Be interesting to see what he does. So Tom, I think, is the easy favourite on that. Someone else who should be good at that, Maxime should grab a good few points here. I don't think he's going to do as well as Tom, but he should be right up there. Wouldn't surprise me if he made top 3. Bryce Johnson, I'm assuming purely just because of the height and size of the man. He's about 6'5" and 190 kilos body weight. He's a big dude. So I think he would have an advantage over most of the guys coming here. Shane Flowers, probably one of the best throwers on the planet. I don't know what way he is for weight, but for height and just for general speed, he's really good. So I think Shane will pick up a few handy points here. Wes Lewinsky as well, really good. Tristan Hoth, all the Canadians really are just stupid at throwing for some reason. So into event 3, which is a frame carry to arm over arm. Now, this is the one that's going to be very interesting for the likes of Trey Mitchell. Okay. Now, this is the one event that I'm looking at overall, which makes me think will put Trey out of contention for winning. And reason being is because the last 2 or 3 times I've seen Trey do a frame, which is, we'll say, essentially within the last year I've seen him do frames, he has not even moved them. Like, not like brought it like a meter or two, like literally could not pull it off the ground due to the nerve issue in his hand. This could be a serious make or break for him. Like, if he can do something like maybe attempt like a hook grip for the frame or something like that, I think that's his only hope of grabbing a few points. I think Trey is good enough in this competition overall that if he places even 10th out of the 16 in this event, he has a chance of, you know, taking the win. But I honestly think, just from what I've seen of him, I think this is going to cost him the title big time. Would not be surprised if he made podium, but I think this is just throwing him off big time here. It's hurting him a lot. But 2 of the guys I think that will perform well would include Evan Singleton, could honestly win the event. Tom Stockman could win the event. They're both class at these events. Evan, particularly on frame, is just lethal. Likes of Nick Gardione, very good, agile dude. Like, these sort of things would not throw him off in the slightest. He's really fast as well. Eddie Williams, I'd predict to do really well here. Maxime Boudreau, class at both of these events, I will say. Like, his frame is unbelievable, like one of the best in the world. Arm over arm, one of the best in the world. So Maxime, if his bicep isn't at him, he could pick up deadly points here. Bryce Johnson as well. He did North America's Strongest Man recently, and he won the whole show. But I believe arm over arm, he was like 1st or 2nd in it, so I would predict him to do pretty well here too. Now moving into the last event of day 1. This is actually, do you know what? This is actually probably my favorite event in Strongest Man Earth in general. They had it last year, and I'm so glad that they're making it like a staple event, which is the manhood stones. So you have 4 options. You can choose the 450 pound, the 500 pounds, the 550 pound, or the 600 pound stone. With these stones as well, what caught a lot of people off guard last year was, because they're so new, they're quite slick, they're very kind of slippery, even with a bit of tachyon. Like, if you've ever lifted, like, I don't know if any of you here are actually training strongman, but if you're ever actually lifted like an old Atlas stone, like, there's so much tacky on it and it's just a bit rough. Like, it's so much easier than like a brand new stone. I haven't actually lifted a brand new stone as of yet, but I can only imagine, you know, with the lack of all those lumps and bumps and extra tacky, it's going to be tough. So I think a lot of the guys made huge mistakes last year and like kind of over, like, expecting more of themselves than what they were actually capable of, due to just the slickness of the stone, and obviously the altitude will affect it too. Tom Stockman is coming for revenge on this event, 100%. I think if he comes in prepped, he will take the win in this event. What caught him last year was he wasn't wearing any sleeves for Atlas stones, so like tape or sleeves or whatever. He normally doesn't bother. He's literally just that good at stones that, like, on any normal stone run, it never stops him. But it's just these particular stones are so slick, it did catch him out. So I think Tom is going to, I think strategy-wise, he would want at least 550 for a few reps, like at least 2 or 3 reps. If he's feeling good and like Tom loves lifting big stones, and he has lifted more than 600 pounds in the past, as we know. He's really going to want to get that 600. I think if he gets that 600 for a rep, that could potentially win that event. He might need to do it for 2, depending on who's coming in there. Someone else who people might be sleeping on this event is Shane Flowers. Just watched his video recently of him doing a 240 stone, which equates to about like 530 pounds, I think. And he lifted it to a platform that was 3 inches higher than what they're doing at small. With, I'm not going to say a relative ease, but it didn't look like RPE 10. It looked about like RPE, like, we'll just say like 75% effort, 75-80% effort. There was definitely more in the tank. Would he get 550 on the day? I would actually be surprised if he didn't. 600 pounds, there's been talks about him doing 600 pounds. It's possible. I would give him about maybe a 15-20% chance, but it's definitely not off the table. So Tom's going to want to watch out for the likes of him. Trey Mitchell as well, just unbelievable stone lifter. So I would predict him probably hitting the 550 as well. Lucas Hatton, I think he hit like a 530 in training, similar to Shane. So he's probably good for the 550. 2 other guys, I don't have a whole pile of data on him, but just by looking at him, you would think they'd be pretty good stone lifters. So you got, jeez, excuse me, lads, try not to burp on camera. So Eddie Williams, Austin Andrade, I think they would be pretty good as well. That event's going to be really exciting. And honestly, after day 1, I think Tom Stoughton's going to be sitting in a very nice position because, like, I mean, you look at the log, like, he's not the top guy there, but like, he's kind of in the pack below pack 1, if you get me. So, like, Tom has done a 2:10 log in the past. I would not be surprised if, you know, if everything goes to plan, he might get as high as like maybe a 215, maybe just below, which would be solid points. You know, that might break him into the top 5 or 6, which is, you know, in the lineup of 16, that's fantastic. Then you go into keg toss, he could win that. Frame carry, he could win that. Manhood, he could. Do you know what? He could actually win 3 events of the first day, which is insane. Could potentially. I think Evan might edge him out in the frame carry, but he still might come second. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got really good points there on day 1. So I actually think he'll be in the league going into day 2. So going into day 2, we have the trap bar for Max. Now, I will say I found it very difficult to find like good data on this because there's a lot of guys who are like, they're posting things and everyone's doing it differently. Like, some people are doing it from a deficit, some people are doing it from a height, and like the weights are all over the place. So I would say Trey Mitchell's probably going to do pretty good here, just based on the fact I think he's the strongest deadlifter in this lineup. Bobby Thompson doing pretty good as well. So Bobby Thompson, I would think, I actually probably pick him as the favorite for this. Like, I saw his interview with Brian Shaw, and he seems really confident on his ability in this. His training looked pretty good. Unfortunately, I can't remember the exact numbers he's hit, but he sounds confident. And he did say as well that one thing that's going to help in this particular event is being a little bit shorter. And Bobby is one of the shorter dudes here. I believe he's like just 6 foot on the button. He's shorter. His deadlift is stupid strong. And like, you know, his upper body is just really strong as well. So I think, obviously leg strength comes into this too, but I think Bobby will do pretty well here. Thomas Evans as well. Thomas Evans is an interesting one in general for the whole show because he sounded super confident when talking to Brian as well. And I have very little data on him. And like, I have looked at some of his videos and stuff. He's not putting a whole pile out. There's some events he's just not putting like at all. I don't think there was anything there for the trap bar. But yeah, with Thomas Evans, like, he's been doing really well in terms of his training, at least by the sounds of it. You know, he sounds really confident. I saw his interview with Brian Shaw. He seems really switched on, and as I say, there's not a lot of data. There's not a lot of data to go off of, but like, he just sounds so confident, like, in that, to the point where you could be looking at a potential podium for Thomas Evans. Maybe even the win. I don't know, would he win it this year? But I think he's, you know, like, he'll do pretty good. He did say that his one weakness would be the keg toss. He is a little bit worried about that, only because he thinks not that he won't have the strength for it, but if his trajectory is like a little bit off, it could cost some massive points. So interesting to see how he gets on with that. Another person on the trap bar I think will do really well is Evan Singleton. The weights he's been putting up have been looking pretty good, and a lot of people haven't been kind of looking at him as like one of the top guys for that. From what I've seen, like, you know, he's hitting, what did he hit? It was like 484 kilos on the trap bar, like recently enough. Like, he's looking pretty strong. The other thing I'll say about the trap bar too was, like, in the beginning, everyone was thinking like people could be getting close to like 600 kilos on this. I don't think so. From what I've seen in training, even aside from the fact that it's day 2 of the competition, I don't think anyone's getting close to 600. I think, to be honest, I even think 550 would be a shock. I think the winner of this event will probably land around like 515, 520 mark. I don't think there's going to be many guys going over 500 on this. Evan might, Bobby probably will, Trey probably will, Thomas Evans be thereabouts. There's a lot of other guys as well, they could be in and around that. But I think most guys are going to be getting between, you know, 1,000 pounds and 500. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see. Like, I'd love to be proven wrong, but I don't think there's going to be many guys going over 500. Then we go into a very exciting event, the yoke for max. So, yoke for max weight. I believe they're doing 6 meter lengths or 20 feet. And what their plan is they're going to do it like in rounds. They're going to do it in rounds, and essentially they're going to start, they're starting at like 520-ish kilos and working up then. It's going to be crazy to see like what guys can get up to on this. People I think will perform well here. Evan Singleton, 100%. Arguably a potential winner. I can't see him outside the top 3 for this event. He's just so good at yoke. Lucas Hatton as well has been putting out some pretty bold statements. He could honestly win that event. Trey Mitchell, I would imagine he'd be pretty good. Couldn't find much data on him in terms of the yoke training, but just the sheer size of the man and the sheer static strength, I think he'll do pretty well. Someone who could be a bit of a dark horse for this event would be Josh Spurgeon. He picked up a 1360 yoke in training, which I believe is around 616 kilos, I think, from what I was looking at earlier. He didn't walk with it, but he stood up with it and looked pretty comfortable. And then he did his run with 1,000 pounds, which looked all right. Eddie Williams, just because of the sheer girth of the man, I would expect him to do really well here as well. Like there's going to be a lot of big weights moved here. Like, another honourable mention there would be like the likes of Tristan Hoth. He's been sounding pretty confident on yoke as well. So there's going to be some big weights lifted here. So I'm actually really excited for that. It's actually going to be called the safe carry on the day because they're going to have 2 like huge safes either side of the frame, and they're going to be like filling them up. I don't know, is it with gold bars or something? I believe that Brian said at some stage, so that'd be funny to see. Then second last event, the standing chest press. Outright winner on this, I'm going to call it early, and I'm going to say Thomas Evans. He placed second at this last year, only to the infamous Brian Shaw, guy in the t-shirt here. But yeah, he did really well there. I would predict him to win. I think Lucas Hatton will be really good just because he's just a huge presser in general. The presser in general. Then Evan Singleton, I think pretty good here as well because he's one of the only strongmen that trains bench press like year round. Andre Faitu, huge presser as well. I think he'd pick up good points. Trey Mitchell as well. Austin Andrade. All those guys, I think, all the barrel-chested Americans, as they like to call themselves, I think they'll do pretty good here. Then, moving on to the final event, the front carry into power stairs. I think Tom Stallman can win this event. I think Evan Singleton could do really well here. Nick Gardione as well, pick up some serious points. Shane Flowers could do some serious damage, and Maxime Boudreau. Reason I picked Tom Stallman, he's tall, he's very good at power stairs. He's really good at front carries, so it's just, he's literally built for this event. Evan Singleton, I could say the same about him. Evan doesn't like front carries, but it doesn't mean he's bad at them. He wouldn't be as good as Tom as front carries, but his power stairs are just unbelievable. Nick Guardione, great at moving events, very good endurance, so this should be right up his street. He's pretty tall too, he's like 6'5", I think. Shane Flowers, monster power stairs as well, and his endurance is pretty good, so he should do some damage there. Maxime Boudreau, similar story. Endurance wise, I think he's decent, but power stairs, he's just a freak at. So these would be like my top guys for that. So overall predictions, which I haven't even written down yet. It's hard, it's really hard, guys, to actually put a proper prediction for this, but I would say the likes of Tom Stoneman and Evan Singleton are going to be very hard to beat. And the reason being is because if you look at these events, right, as I said on day one for Tom Stoneman, he doesn't have a bad event. His worst event, he's probably placing 5th in, and that's the log press on day one. You go into day two, trap bar, mid-table probably, yoke for max, I'm going to say anywhere from 5th to 8th, so higher to mid-table. Standing chest press, he's pretty good at bench press as well, so I put him potentially top 5. And like the front carry and power stairs, he could win. So Tom Stoneman could win front carry. Let's see. He could win 4 of the 8 events here. He could honestly win the keg toss, frame carry, manhood stones, and the front carry and power stairs. And everything else, like top 5 to top 8, like he's not dropping huge points. You look at the likes of Evan Singleton, so let's go through it. Log press, he's very similar to Tom, but he'll perform maybe a little bit lower than him. Still be mid-table, like he's still going to be around the 210 mark, I think. Then after that, we have the keg toss. He should be kind of mid to higher table there. Possibly top 5 again. Frame carry, he could win. Manhood stones, bit of damage control there as well. Like I was saying earlier, that he's not bad at stones, but he's not like, let's say in terms of peak strength, he wouldn't be, beating the top guys on this. So probably mid-table there as well. Then you go into day 2, trap bar. He could be top 3 in trap bar. Like yoke, he could win. Standing chest press, top 3 again. Front carry, he could win, or top 3. So if you look at it on paper, they're going to be very close. So I would nearly go as far as say it might even just be a coin toss to pick between Tom and Evan for the win. Other guys that are going to do really well. Lucas Hatton, his only real bad event as such is the keg toss. That's the only thing that's holding him back. Throwing affects him because he's not the tallest dude and he's got really chunky ass legs, so they do get in the way when we're trying to throw a big keg. I think he hit, was it 70 or 75 pounds he was failing in training. He's definitely good enough for like 65, 70, but just depends how the other guys go. Like he did say if there's a lot of guys failing at around the 75 mark, he could get into a massive tie, which would place maybe 6th overall that event, which would be really good news for him. Like you go for max log press, he could win. Frame carry, he'll be okay, but I'd be thinking he'd be 8th to 10th there, mid-table. Then manhood stones, he'd be pretty good there, probably top 5. Then you go into trap bar, top 5 there, I would say. Yoke for max, top 2. Standing chest press, top 2. Front carry, probably down the mid-table again. I think he loses too many points on the keg toss to be winning. I think Tom or Evan would have to make a massive fuck up somewhere along the line for him to sneak in there. Well, yeah, they would be my top guys. Now, people have gone on about Trey Mitchell. I mentioned him earlier. If the frame and the arm over arm wasn't in there, Trey could win this competition without a shadow of a doubt. The arm over arm, that's not a problem for him. He could do all right in that. The frame, just being honest, I think he's going to zero it. Every time I've seen him do a frame this year, he has not even moved it off the ground. So, unless he does hook grip or something, I think that's his only hope. If he does hook grip on that, we could be talking about a completely different podium here. But given that is such a weakness for him, and because not only would that mean he get 1 point, if he doesn't move the frame, that's 0 points. He loses 16 points straight away on that event. So, like, even if he does really well in the other events, which, like, having a look at him there, max log, really good. Keg toss, really good. Manhood stones, really good. Trap bar could win. Yoke for max, really good. Standing chest press, really good. Last event, power stairs, not as good, but you know, he'd be mid-table. He's just dropping way too many points. I honestly think, I'm predicting this right now, I think Trey will be in 4th place. Unless Thomas Evans, unless Thomas Evans gets in there and really puts the pressure on him, because he's been sounding pretty confident as well, just overall. Thomas Evans making a top 5 would not surprise me in the slightest. Would he be good enough to beat the likes of Lucas Hatton? I don't think so, but he won't be far off him. He could beat him in a few events. He'd probably beat him on the keg. I don't think he's good enough to beat him overall. He'd probably beat him on the chest press as well. But overall, I think Lucas is placed higher than him. So I think Thomas Evans, I'm going to say Thomas Evans is in the top 5. I'm going to put him as my number 4 right now. And then as number 5, like Austin Andrade could sneak in there if it's not Trey Mitchell. Who else is really good? Do you know another guy who's really good now, who I don't think he'll make top 5, but I don't think he'd be miles off either, would be the likes of Eddie Williams. Eddie Williams, what he said in his interview with Brian was, since Worlds, with his coach, they had said that all of his lifts going into Strongest Man Earth have probably increased by about 30% from Worlds, which is bonkers. That is such a crazy improvement. 30% in a couple of months like that from Worlds is absolutely insane. So now, look, I haven't done the maths on this because I just can't be bothered to be all day doing it. But like, could you imagine like getting 30% better on your deadlift? Like, let's say it's for trap bar, 30% deadlift. Like, let's say if he was trap bar deadlifting like 400 before, 30% is what? 30% of that, 40 by 3 is 120. Like, it's 520 kilo trap bar. Now, do I think it's going to be that direct and that much carryover? Not really, but like, just for reference, like, or even, you know, his log press as well. Even if that's 10% better, that's another, you know, probably close to 20 kilos. Like all these different things. And he said he's the fittest and strongest he's ever been. And the fitness is going to carry over a lot to this altitude, because if guys are coming up here and they've not been doing their cardio, by God, are they going to struggle, because that altitude just takes the wind out of you completely from what I've seen in previous years. So, podium prediction, honest thoughts, I think if Tom Stallman is in the shape that he claims, he could win. Evan Singleton, I'm going to put in 2nd. He could win, but I'm going to put him more likely in 2nd. 3rd place, I'm going to put Lucas Hatton. 4th place, I'm going to put Trey Mitchell. And 5th place, I'm going to put Thomas Evans. That's my honest thoughts. Could Evan win the show? 100% he could. Definitely could. He would need Tom to make a mistake somewhere, and he would need to, you know, have solid performance himself for that to happen. If Tom is on point, I think Tom wins the show. I think Evan is just a little bit behind him. Lucas Hatton and who did I say in 4th? Trey Mitchell. Trey Mitchell could be on podium, but I mean, if he loses 16 points in the 2nd event, that is that's game over there. Like, and then 5th, I think Thomas Evans, just because he sounds so confident in himself. Plus, he's probably going to win the chest press as well, so that's going to be huge points. So guys, that is the video for today. Let me know what you think. I have the original video up here, or here somewhere, either side, of the actual first video I did on the Strongest Man Earth and my thoughts on the events. Other than that, let me know what your podium predictions are. Am I way off? Is this event too dangerous? Will we see a lot of injuries? And yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you guys later.